Okay.
All right, parents, I have asked Julie to stay back for some extra time just for some help that possibly could be of benefit for you as an adult, because I'm a school counselor and I hear that families are feeling overwhelmed with work obligations. They want to keep their house in order. Their kids are now Zooming. They're getting tons of emails and correspondence from the school, and there's just other stuff. There's just so much to keep track. And I just know from experience too that feeling in that frazzled state is not good for anybody. And so Julie here is a professional organizer. I'll let her speak a little bit of what she has done to help families and some helpful tips. So thank you, Julie.
You're welcome. Okay. Hello, Ben. Thanks for listening. It is a crazy time, you know. Hopefully this will be helpful. It might even be humorous. So if nothing else, you'll get a giggle out of it. You know, it's a crazy time. Lots of things changing rapidly, and we are having to juggle a lot of different plates and a lot of different balls. I find the biggest word that's helpful is the word preparation. Being prepped, being ready, rather than always trying to catch up. So even though that takes a little bit of practice, because maybe we've not been good at that in the past, it's worth it in the long run. If you look at, let's start with something like the schedule, how the week looks. If you just try to think about it on a day-to-day basis, it will become overwhelming. If you've got a family and you're a mom and dad and a couple of kids, it's a really good idea to have something visual on the wall, a big giant calendar that everyone can look at. Everyone, you know, we talk about being on the same page, but in this world right now, if you're in your family, you have to be literally looking at the same page. You have to be able to know Monday, this is what's going on. Everyone kind of needs to know where they need to be, and that then alleviates the overwhelm because it's right there in front of them. So I think visual is a good, people learn obviously in different ways. Some people struggle with visual and they're more oral, but generally speaking, where calendars are concerned, it's really good to have it up there. Between mom and dad, I know I've worked with a lot of parents and they love using that family calendar where you enter something and it clicks in and everyone can see it. That's very useful. But I do think you definitely need to be running some kind of visual calendar and digital calendar. When it comes to, you know, eating and working out, I do hear a lot of people saying that those things are not going so well. You know, you've worked a long day, kids are home, you didn't really get time to go to the store, and now we're out to In-N-Out and we're eating burgers and fries, milkshakes, dad's popping a beer, and we're drinking too much alcohol. The alcohol, the coffee, all these suppressants seem like a good idea at the time as we're sipping them, but truthfully, they are going to zap your energy and they're going to make you irritable and not very productive. That's just the truth of it. I'm not a scientist, but even for me, you know, I've noticed that when I'm not drinking coffee and when I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm a lot more productive. I'm a lot more alert. Again, it comes back down to preparation, I'm afraid. I tend to take a couple of hours on a Sunday and I go to the store and I get a bunch of food that is going to be used for a few different recipes, and I get them ready in bulk. I do work some pretty long hours, and what I absolutely do not want to do is be out in the field starving and now I'm running to get some fast food. I do not do it, by the way. I make a shake in the morning, smoothie, which are really great for kids, really easy. You're putting in ice, you're putting in a bunch of spinach, you're putting in a quarter cup of fruit, you're adding like a half avocado for the healthy fat. You pour in your almond milk and you zap it. and you've got a little top on it and you give it to the kids, and that's a great breakfast. So that's really easy. As a parent, you can even do another one of those. If you add in a banana, that would be great for your lunch. Now we flash forward to the evening, and it's the evening meal, which, by the way, is a really important time for you to come together with your families, especially at this time. So it's not really about, I don't have the time to cook dinner. It's about, that is the time. That's the time to cook dinner. If the kids have homework, if they're an age of homework, that's the homework time. If they don't have homework and they're younger, that's when they can assist you and be in the kitchen, and they can be doing little pieces of prep. It brings you together. It allows time for talk, and especially at this time that we're living in, there is a lot of anxieties. Kids are experiencing a lot of anxieties. Teenagers are off the chart experiencing a lot of depression. If we're saying that we're not going to have dinner time, a time to come together, I don't really know when it is that they're supposed to really let those feelings out. So really make a concerted effort around dinner. And there are recipes all over the place on the internet. I actually just started an interesting 30-day challenge, and it provided me with a bunch of recipes, which are super easy, but I can just throw back to you, even purchasing a slow cooker and throwing in a whole bunch of vegetables and some chicken in the morning, you come back in the evening, it's ready. It's some simple things that will allow you to eat healthy, and that really is your key. The minute that we start to be consuming much higher fatty foods, our energy starts to zap. Our minds start to get like, everyone feels it.
Mm-hmm.
So meal time, very important. Prep time, very important. Same thing goes with exercise. I know that's a toughie. The truth is that most of us don't exercise because we're lazy. That's the truth of it. We find every other excuse to say why we're not exercising. We normally would, if you have kids, you probably blame your kids for not exercising. This is a shame. And you should stop doing that. And you should make it, if nothing else, it's been documented that if you take a 30-minute walk every single day, you are guaranteed to bring down your blood pressure and improve your lifestyle. So my advice, if you haven't done the crock pot idea and something needs to cook for 20 minutes, which is the basics for chicken and fish, you put it in the oven, it's basically done in 20 minutes no matter what you're doing. Take that 20 minutes to have everyone put their devices away and take a walk. And if you're lucky enough to live where I live, which is in Ventura, close to the water, take that walk right down to the ocean. Breathe in that fresh air. Find a little moment to count some blessings and walk yourself back, ready for a hearty meal. If you do not exercise, again, there's something that's released in the body when we do move the body. You don't have to go and do a crazy big workout in the gym every day like me. I'm a nut. But if you really don't have the time to do that, I get that. But you can fit in a walk. And after that walk, I'm guaranteeing the endorphins that get brought up in the body, that go straight to the brain, last you through, they make your sleep better. And you wake up the next morning, ready then for the next day. So you've probably thought about all these things. I'm not probably saying anything new, but the other thing is that it is important to have a perspective, have your attitude, the way that you think about your day when you wake up. So I'll give you a little comedy thing that I do for myself. I ask myself in the morning, am I going to have this kind of a day, or am I going to have this kind of a day? And if you choose this kind of a day every day, you'll notice when you walk out the door, get in your car, and you remember that funny little face, you will have a better day.
Oh, well, thank you so much for all those tips. And I find personal experience that it's often when I hear it again and again and again, and I talk about it with my friends, we support each other. I try to find healthy role models to check in with.
Yes.
It's really, it has to come from a variety of sources.
Here's a great example. I am an annual member of a yoga studio downtown, Hot Yoga Ventura. We've been struggling crazy. I took on being a volunteer for her as a studio manager, just to we're trying to desperately keep that business open. Out of this craziness, I have a huge backyard out in the back of my house here. So I offered it up to her as a space. And every Thursday night now at 5:30, a whole bunch of people, 6 feet apart, come to the house, come to the back of my house here, and we are doing what we would have done in the studio, like it's a Pilates class, Inferno Pilates, all to do with the core. It's a crazy class. It makes you laugh. It makes you scream. People come, they do it, they come, they show up, they do it, and then they leave. And the funny thing is that I have a tenant living downstairs who's been trying to get back into it. And she has I think he's 8 years old. Her son is 8 years old. We did the first one last week. They both worked out like crazy people. And she came out the next morning and she said to me, my son slept the best night's sleep he's had ever.
Wow.
That class. Now, did he do the class right? No, of course not. It doesn't matter. He jumped around like a jumping bean. He tried to stay focused. He did do some of it. He had his own moves for the class. I want some of his moves for the next class. He was fabulous. The point being, he was there with his mom. It was a great bonding experience. We had a whole bunch of people here, everyone supporting each other, and everyone leaving just, with that feeling of positivity. These are days when you cannot do these things alone. You have to reach out and get yourself into some kind of support groups. When I first started to volunteer with the studio, I'm just doing it purely from a selfish perspective. I'm like, this is my studio where I come and work out all the time. I don't want it to close. But the benefits that I've received from participating, from getting involved, from making sure that I'm invested in that small business, it's I think what spurred me on to do my own on-stream classes. It's sort of like you know what, you get back what you give. So when times get tough, and I know that they do, and I know that this is a very difficult time for people, just get into the doing of something. Don't think about it too long, because the thinking will stop you. Thoughts can just slam you. Let the thoughts come, say bye-bye, thank you for sharing, and move right through that thought and do something. And so that's when it comes back to, at very least, get a walk in with the children. With the children. Do not leave your children at home doing this. Everyone's on the walk, everyone's on a bike, something. You will feel better.
I have to chime in with that, because that's something that I make it a goal, is after dinner, we do the family walk. And as a parent, I discovered early on that when we're walking, there's just something about outside, and we're side by side, so we don't have to face each other.
Yeah.
They will share things with me that
yes,
I don't think would have come out naturally before. And it's been a great quiet time of just no distractions,
yes,
no technology, and it's meaningful.
yeah.
I love it.
The only caveat I would say to that is do the walk before the dinner. When the dinner's cooking, that's a good use of that time. And then after dinner, then your food is settling, you see. Sometimes the people don't want to walk after they've finished eating, but then you get to relax and they can do their homework and get ready to tone down for bed. I know it seems a weird way around sometimes, but it actually works better on the digestive system.
Oh, that's interesting, because I thought it was the opposite. So I'm going to try that.
Depending on what time of day, but in the evening, if you are prepping your meal and then you go out for that walk while it's doing it, that's like dead time. Then you come back and you eat, and then the parents get to be able to relax, digest, and the kids can finish homework, and everyone's calmer because they've worked out, done something with the body, and they've eaten. It's going to be a very quiet time in your house. So that's not necessarily the time you want to go outside and create all the thing again. Right. Maybe in the morning that works. In the morning, I would say we get up, we have breakfast, we're moving. But in the evening, we want to do it, I think, that's just my opinion, take it, leave it. It works. It works.
Nice. Well, no, I'm definitely going to experiment and try that out and see what works best. So I love this kind of conversation because I'm always trying to improve, but there's also times in my life that I'm not really in listening mode. It's hard for me. I'm in a rut,
Yep.
but I want to think optimistic that if someone is in that place, that there's still light in there and they are able to connect with someone that can help pull them out.
Reach out. And I'm always available. I have a website. I love helping people. I love taking phone calls from people, and sometimes I don't even end up working with them. I mean, yeah, always reach out, and you will find help.
Well, thank you so much for helping me out with this interview. And I know you've helped other people you already have in your career, but even just people listening to this interview, it helps lift up and think positive and just do one thing, and that is the family walk. That's everyone's homework today.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Julie.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.